Okay, so here we have another one, Pam.
Pam, hello,
Pam
Pam.
from Instagram.
Yes, that's my platform of choice. Not that we post on everything, but I actually use Instagram the most myself.
Mm-hmm.
Do you use?
Yeah, I use
Yes.
Instagram all the time.
Do you follow me?
I follow you.
Thank you very much.
Closely. Do you follow me, Cory?
I follow you joyfully. I follow you. You're gonna please, if you don't follow her on Instagram, Pam, follow Tina Smith on Instagram. All right.
Okay, so let's see. I'm not sure. Okay, Pam from Instagram wants to know, how will you remove? I'm not quite sure what this says.
The provisions. I think it's just an extra E got added.
Oh, okay.
On it.
How you remove the provisions against judge from the BBB?
Oh, this is the provision
this?
that I'm going to phone a friend that allows it says the courts cannot hold the president in contempt. What's that? Yeah, they can't do nation.
Oh,
Yes. Well, is it that they can't? This is, first of all, this is your staffer who's now working for me. I'm just like grilling your staffer. Give me the facts. And it was a great tie on, by the way. Great tie. I actually offered him money for that tie, and he rejected me soundly earlier today. But I thought this was this idea. I saw a provision that said that the courts can't hold them in contempt. It's what Marjorie Taylor Greene is now saying. I didn't know that this was in there, but you're saying it's something else. It's hard to keep all the bad tracks.
so I think I have an answer in general to this question. So, first of all, this is like, bear with us while we dive into this a little bit. But what the Republicans are doing is using a very particular and very arcane process that we have in the United States Senate that allows them to pass laws without with a simple majority, with a simple majority, like a 51. But part of the deal for accomplishing that is that what they pass in this law needs to be primarily about taxes and spending. It can't be just policy, okay? And I'm not going to go into all the crazy names for this. There's something called a bird bath and all of that. But here's what you need to know. We Democrats are going to be doing everything that we can to strip out of this bill provisions that are bad policy, and we are going to use all the tools that we have to get those things out of the bill.
Right.
Like this. So this thing about this provision against judges that is in the bill, we are hopeful that we can just take that out at the very beginning of this process, and we're going to do everything we can to make that happen.
And so there is a process. Again, I've had to learn this over the 10 years I've been here, where you actually go to the parliamentarian and you
just sort of like the referee on the Senate rules, right?
That you make your case. It's almost like I'm making my case through this person. It's supposed to be impartially evaluating you, and that is actually a process that you go and you make your case. This should not be allowed into the major bill, and that's one of the ways we have.
Right, in order to get some of these really bad provisions that are in this bill. So here's another example of something that I'm really strongly opposed to, and most Minnesotans are, that there's a provision in this bill that would allow this Chilean mining company to build a copper nickel mine right on the borders of the boundary waters that's going to pollute the boundary waters. And it's in there, it got put in there, and we're going to try to take it out using this special process that we have in the Senate because it's bad for Minnesota. It basically is enriching this big Chilean mining company and hurting the beautiful boundary waters, and it needs to get taken out of there. So we're going to try to use this process, do everything we can to use this special process to get it taken out.
Okay, and the boundary waters for New Jersey people, that is these extraordinary waters that you all have along the Great Lakes.
Yes,
right?
yes, that's exactly right. It's beautiful, beautiful lakes on the border of Canada.
That's extraordinary. And I will say to this, though, that's not the only way to get that provision out of the bill. The other way is public outrage. It really is. We're already seeing some cracks in some House members. I woke up on my podcast this morning. I was hearing quotes from a few House members that realized a provision was in here about the courts and said, I didn't agree to that. Their hold on getting this passed is very tenuous. They have a 4-vote majority in the House and a 4-vote majority here. They lose 4 people who are shaken by the public outrage, who are moved by the public outrage, because the majority of people in their states are calling their offices, showing up at their town halls, coming to the Capitol, and letting them know. That can mean that suddenly you can start seeing people not vote for this bill, and the whole thing would fall. So that we are going to use every procedural tool that we have, but you have the greatest power, because in a democracy, the power of the people is greater than the people in power if we use it. Right now, if you treat this democracy like a spectator sport and sit on the sidelines and just watch those of us that are on the field, we don't have the votes. But when you all get on the field and join us,
right. It's really up to all of us.
Yeah, that's how we stop the Affordable Care Act from being stripped away in his first term.
That's right.
All
That's
right?
right. American people have a lot of power, and we need everybody to use their power.
Have you ever heard of last call? Like when you've been out with friends and they say
I usually
last
am
call.
home before last call, but I have heard of such a thing. I have heard. Is this our last call?
I want to
Cory?
tell. I know you've heard these words. I don't care where you're going, but you can't stay here. I know you've closed down a bar or two. Maybe it was in your younger years, 5 years ago.
So this is our last call.
That's what I'm saying. This is the
right.
last
Okay.
call.
All right. So this is the question from Bonnie on Facebook.
Do you? I used to use Facebook a lot more.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan. And we
Yeah,
post
I
on
still
Facebook.
post on Facebook a lot. A lot of people pay a lot of attention to
A
Facebook.
lot of people still pay
Yeah.
attention to Facebook. It's such
Yeah.
a great platform. Bonnie, I'm glad you asked this question.
Do you
Thank
want
you,
to read
Bonnie.
the question?
This is my first reading of the question.
Right.
Should I read it in Bonnie, I wish I knew your voice. I need your voice, Bonnie, here. But you are saying in plain text, how is this even possible? We pay for the programs. Why can't we say where our money goes? That is a powerful question.
It gets to the core of the challenge, the problem that we have right now with this president, because your elected representatives have passed laws that say, here's the money that we have, and here's what we think that we should do for the money for the good of our country. That's the way our democracy works. But what's happening right now is Donald Trump and Elon Musk, although he seems to be a little on the outs these days, said, no, we're going to do something completely different with this money. We're going to decide, separate from what your elected representatives decided, we're going to determine where this money goes. And so you're right. How is that even possible? They are really going against the laws of this country in a really fundamental way. And so, again, this is where we are standing up to this. We're saying this is wrong. This is not the way democracy works. Donald Trump is not the king. Our Constitution says we the people. It doesn't say we the billionaires. And it is up to all of us to stand up to this just blatant power grab is basically what it is.
And I'll just say, look, there are very wealthy people who pay lobbyists, corporations do this, to come down here and advocate for things. And there are interest groups, right-wing think tanks that just want to do tax cuts. They actually want to make the government so anemic that it can't function. So there's a whole bunch of forces that are pushing against this. But what I am saying, if the affected people, and all of us will be affected, if we, the affected people, stand up and fight, because I know in New Jersey, hospitals could close. In rural areas, we could see hospital closures. In New Jersey, millions of people could lose benefits that, as you said, that they've been paying for in their taxpayer dollars. We can see our children and our seniors getting hurt. All of these things are in the balance right now. And so, yes, it's possible, but I want to do what I think is also possible, which is to fight back against this. It is sobering how close we are. We have a 4-vote margin. They're trying to ram it through. But I say this over and over again, American history, if it is anything, it's a perpetual testimony to the achievement of impossible things against impossible odds. That's really where we are. We have just days. They're trying to pass this bill through the Senate by July 4th. We just have days. And the question isn't what they are going to do. The most important question right now is, what are we going to do? Are we going to make it impossible? I'm waving.
And here we have
This
another one of our best colleagues.
Yes.
Here's Senator Tim Kaine.
I'm going to say this. I'm stay here for a second, because I know there's more questions coming. Tim, sit down.
Okay.
I'm going to be the one that's going to go behind.
I'm gonna do it.
I'm gonna